But if you want to take it to the next level, then that's what we're going to do.
Like if you're gonna disrespect me,
If you're going to disrespect me, I'm not going to blatantly disrespect you.
right?
But
you're gonna handle it.
But I'm going to have a different tone to let you know that I'm in charge. Because look, I may be at your house, and this may be your house, but I got called here for a reason, and I'm in charge when I'm at your house.
And you're trying to do
I'm
your
gonna handle
job.
my business, and when we get done handling business, then we either can shake hands and walk away happy, or I can just leave. But I'm gonna handle the business when I'm there.
What's up, y'all? This is Beyond 21 with Caitlin, Callie,
And Bo again.
I was hoping you would say again. Coming in with a part 2 on the life of a deputy. I think the first one was just replaying it in my mind of how it went last week, because I've not yet watched it this week, but I think it went pretty well. I think it did too. We've had some real positive feedback. Everybody likes to hear what Bo has to say. So we've also had good positive feedback on our commercial for Cherokee Family Health Care. So, yep, appreciate that. Yeah, y'all keep sharing that, and if you need one made, we can do it. Yeah. Without further ado, let's get into the second part. I was going to say that exactly. Okay. Such a bad high five. All right, well, let's get into it. All right. Okay, so picking up kind of where we left off. Topic is being a police officer while you have a family. So, first question, how did your views change from not having a family at first and being a cop to now that you have a family and still being a cop? Or did it? Or did it?
I wouldn't say that it changed a whole lot, because I was only an officer for about 7 months before Caitlin was born.
Oh. So Mom was already pregnant with me when you started working there.
Yeah, I went to work in June of '99. So.
Oh yeah, so she found out she was pregnant with me in May.
Yeah, so it wasn't too long. But now I was already involved in it before that, as a reserve. But so as far as my views changed from before we had kids to after, there really wasn't anything to, I guess, change, because I didn't know what it was like before.
Right.
It was like brand new for both sides of it.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, then how did it make you feel seeing kids the same as your own, like, even their like our classmates, or being in bad situations, like that kind of thing?
Well, so, I said, I think it was last week, I kind of led into how I became a deputy. But in 2004, I went from patrol to investigations. And my duties in investigations was to maintain the sex offender registry for the sheriff's office and all the sex offenders in the county, and also to work all child abuse, sexual abuse, and physical abuse cases. That was my priority cases. I had other cases to work also, but that was the priority because that's what I was told that my duties was going to be. So I worked a lot of cases with children involving sexual abuse and physical abuse for many years as y'all were growing up. And I think y'all probably understood somewhat of what I was doing.
I don't think I knew anything about it. Like, I didn't know you did any of that until I was in middle school. Like, I knew you were an investigator.
Yeah, I knew you probably didn't understand it when you were little, but as y'all got older, I felt like y'all probably had some idea, a little bit of an idea as to what I did as far as investigating crimes against children. But sometimes it was hard because some of the children that were being or that was involved in these cases were at the same age as y'all. They may have been, some of them may have been your classmates, some of them may have just been in others at y'all's age in different schools. But being at the same age as what my kids were, it was kind of rough sometimes.
Yeah. Did you ever just think I don't know how to word it, but like it's just crazy. Like you're trying to keep your kids safe, and you just like you think about us when you see those kids, but you know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, I could see. You know, I knew that they were different people, but
Yeah,
in your mind, you put
You don't understand how somebody could do this to their child.
right.
yeah, that's what I mean.
But I put y'all's faces on them sometimes that, you know, I've never really told anybody. I haven't even really even told your mother that, but there was instances where I think, you know, this is my kid's age. This could be my kid. You know,
Yeah,
what if this was my kid?
Yeah, that's what I mean.
What would I want to do to try to protect that kid, even though it's not mine, but it is mine
yeah,
because it's the same age, you know.
yeah,
And so it got kind of rough sometimes, but I tried not to ever bring work home, and I felt like I'd done a pretty good job.
Yeah, I
of
think you
not
did a good
bringing it
job.
in
I
the
think you did
house,
too.
You know, I think that's where a lot of people go wrong in law enforcement is you bring your job home, and then it affects your home life for what you see, you know, out there on the job.
Do you mean like
it's still on. It's just I can't get the light to come on.
do you mean like when you bring it home, are you saying like bringing it home,
Like the pain
And,
and,
like,
the sadness and stuff.
getting angry
Yeah,
because you couldn't fix it at work, or are you talking about bringing it home and like it traumatizing you and depressing you at home?
well, a little bit of both, but also, you know, I didn't want to come home and talk about my job. You know, most families, I guess,
Sit
comes
around the
home
table
they
and
sit
talk.
around at the table or in the living room between commercials, watching TV. How's your day? What was going on? You know, and you know,
You didn't want to talk about it.
I don't want to talk about what I did at work. You know,
Yeah.
I lived it one time. I don't want to live it again
Yeah.
when I come home. And I know that's bad to say when your wife is sitting there wanting to know what your day was like. But I mean, you know,
And you also can't talk
talking about customers coming in buying parts from your mama's standpoint,
That's different.
that's a lot different than, you know, hey, I was out investigating sexual abuse today. You know, that's
Yeah.
just something you don't want to sit around the table and talk about. You know,
Yeah.
especially when you got kids that same age that it's happening on, and it may not traumatize me, but you know, your mother was a child abuse victim. You know, so I certainly didn't
make
want
her
to.
relive it.
You know,
Yeah.
So
So when you would come home from seeing those kids our age or whatever, if you dealt with it that day, when you came home and you looked at us, did you remember it and it just made you sad all over again, or did it just kind of make you want to like wrap us up in your arms and like instead of like I guess kind of like
so
taking it for
cringy
granted?
to me.
no, sometimes I want
You know
to just
what I'm
come.
saying?
Yeah, I know
I
what you
do
mean.
understand what you're saying.
It's just that way, you know. We just
She's-
ignore her.
She don't want nobody touching her. Everything's cringy to her. You know,
That's why I don't most of the time even hug her.
it's like a brick wall.
I'm just
over
like, all right, bye, I
You
love
know.
you.
And where did I get that from?
well, you know, some of it
You-
came from me.
Yeah, but
get
she's
honest.
worse than like she's 10 times worse than you.
Yeah,
Anyway, the
but at
question.
any rate, I forgot what the question was now.
Like, okay, so when you
Oh, I know what it was. So I did want to come home and put my arms around y'all, you know, but at the same time, I don't know what it was, but I just, when I got out of the truck and come in the house,
it was like you flipped a switch and you were done.
yeah, I turned the switch off.
That was
and,
good.
And it didn't bother me too much, you know.
Yeah.
Did you ever like pray that wouldn't affect you at home? Did you ever
I
like
did.
pray that it would just
I did.
Go away.
leave you as soon as you stepped out of your truck?
Yep.
Okay, so next question. Were you ever scared your family was in danger with the more dangerous people you arrested or had to deal with? Or maybe you didn't catch somebody, you know, like that kind of thing. Because people know you.
Like we had a neighborhood
Well, there was
bandit.
no. I never was afraid of somebody coming to my house and trying to do something to my family. I've always tried to treat everybody with the same amount of respect. Whether it doesn't matter if they're somebody I put in jail or somebody I may just not satisfied by answering a call a certain way or making them happy because I didn't get their stolen property back. I mean, you know, people do weird things, and they think weird thoughts sometimes. But I really never had a thought that somebody was going to come to our house and take it out on my family for what I did at work.
Okay.
You know, we did have an occasion where some people pulls up wanting to talk to me, you know,
That happened a lot.
It did happen a lot, and it always aggravated your mother.
It scared me to death.
There was one instance that I don't think Carly was. I think this was before Carly was born, where that one guy came up. I had just come off patrol shift that night at midnight because I was working 4 to 12, and
He come beating on the back door.
No, he came to the front door, and he pulled up in a vehicle, and I think your mother saw him pull up, saw somebody pull up, because I had just walked in the door and gotten changed, and of course y'all didn't go to bed because this was before y'all went to school, started school, so it was midnight, and I get home and all of y'all are still up, and that was a regular occurrence. So anyway, that guy pulls up, whether it's me or your mother, I don't know who noticed it, but anyway, he comes up on the front porch, and your mother's like, "Are you going get your gun?" I said, "I got my gun." And I didn't have it in my pocket, or I just had it down by my side and I opened the door.
Did he like bang on the door? Or
No,
did
I
you
never
just go
gave
out
him a chance to knock on the door. As soon as he got to the top of the steps on the front
You
porch,
yanked that door
I
open.
just opened the door and I said, "What do you want?" And I called him by name because
Oh, so you knew him.
Oh yeah, I knew him. I'd been dealing with him for
Was he like a crackhead
guess-
or?
kinda, I mean, it's on and off, but me and him had never had any problems when I deal with him, whether I was arresting him or just dealing with him in general.
He was a good guy. He just couldn't do good things. Like
Well,
he was a good
kinda.
guy, as in like
I'm not
he
gonna
wasn't
say
gonna
he's a
hurt.
good guy,
He
but
wasn't gonna hurt nobody.
no, I don't think he didn't have any intentions of coming there and hurting me or y'all.
Yeah.
But when he stepped up on the porch, I didn't like him being there at midnight.
Yeah.
No,
uh,
that's creepy.
at my house. Now, if he'd come at 4 o'clock in the afternoon and I'm mowing grass, that's one thing. But don't come at my house at
12
midnight.
o'clock. Yeah.
And so I stepped out the door, and of course your mother's and y'all
Panicking.
were just standing there, and
Get in the house.
y'all were. Or your mother was nervous about it.
I can see us
you know.
being like,
But I knew him. I mean, I dealt with him, like I said, numerous times. And I just stepped out on the porch and called him by name. I said, "Man, what are you doing here?" And he started telling me he needed to talk to me about it. I said, "No, you can call dispatch and they can meet you, get a deputy that's working night shifts. They can meet you down at John's. You need to leave my yard." I said, "Don't you ever come back to my house,
And touch a blade of your
I said,
grass.
don't even touch a blade of my grass. Just don't even drive by here, 'Cause I don't
Stay
want
off
you in
county
my
road
on my property." And so he apologized and went off the porch and left. And
Did you deal with him anymore after?
I ended up calling dispatch and telling them to get a deputy to come down there and meet with him, But yeah, I've dealt with him numerous times since then,
But he hadn't never come back.
He never came back to my driveway,
never touched a bloody old grass.
That's right. And, there's other people that's pulled up wanting to talk to me. And like I said, it's always aggravated your mother. And to a certain extent, it aggravates me too,
How
But,
do they know where you live?
I mean, everybody knows where we live. Everybody knows where every police in this county lives.
Yeah, they need
don't
to
know
get to him ASAP.
I don't know how they know that, but they do,
Well, you can look at people's address on the white pages and stuff. Like maybe that's how they find you. You just type in their last
This
name.
is
and
for the
first name.
internet, pal.
Oh well, never mind.
The phone book, though.
Yeah.
Yeah,
phone book, phone book.
I understand that
Back
too.
when they were about this thick and not paper thin.
The yellow pages.
Yeah, I don't think I was ever in the Yellow Pages. Bo Jolly.
So, kind of since we're on this topic, has it? I know you said that to an extent it annoys you for people to pull up, but like when you go out in public and you can never just be out in public and be yourself off duty, how annoying is it for people to come up to you and try to complain or try to get you to fix something? You're not in the uniform. They know for a fact you're not working. Like whether you're enjoying family time or just in the grocery store shopping, like how annoying is that?
Scale of 1 to 10.
It's probably about a 12.
Yeah.
I mean, it's top of the scale annoying.
And you
Because you're there with your family at Walmart or at the grocery store or whatever, and I didn't really, it really never bothered me that people knew who y'all were, but I really didn't want to just introduce, "Hey, this is my wife and kids. This is a crack kid I just arrested last week,
this is why he's talking to me.
I don't want to do this,
Yeah.
while I'm with my family, But, it is annoying, but at the same time, I took an oath to protect and serve the
public
county,
servant.
and I'm a public servant, and people's going to recognize. If they don't recognize me, back when I first started, every house, it seemed like, had a scanner. And of course, at that point in time, our channel was across I mean, anybody.
It was not private.
No, anybody could listen to it. So everybody knew our voices.
Like, oh, that's
Knew
old
our
Bo on
names
there.
because we talked. Hey, Bo, this is what's going on, or whatever, on the radio. But everybody recognized their voices. And I don't know the times that I've been in convenience stores or whatever, they didn't know my face because they'd never seen me. But they're like, hey,
You're that guy on the
you're
radio."
C11. That was my call sign. Hey, you're C11. I'm like,
What?
who are you? Oh, man, I just listened to y'all on the radio.
Like a fan, bro.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Can I get your autograph? No, I can take you to jail,
we
though.
call it Scannerland because that's what everything was. Is everybody's listening on the scanner, so-
Scannerland.
Scannerland. But I've had people that knew who I was, and they would come up and that I dealt with or whatever. Hey, I got such going on. Da, 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 da. Well, man, I'm off duty. You need to call dispatch.
Yeah.
I'm not going to deal with this while I'm dealing with my family here.
We get that too. I mean, I don't know if you ever have, but like people have come up to me and be like, "Hey, can your dad?" And I'm like, "Well, he's not working today, and that's
Yeah.
not a me thing to be telling my dad. So if you can call.
Yeah.
Do you know how many times?
What's it called? You can call dispatch."
911.
And I was like, "You can talk to them and get a hold of him that way." I said, "But I'm not going to give you his personal phone number. I'm not going to talk to him for you. I'm sorry, I'm just not going to do it."
Yeah.
I have
Hate that.
literally had a relative of Blake's ask me multiple times, "Do you think your dad can check and see if I got a warrant out?" I'm like, "No.
Yeah, and that's something
No.
you do anyway. I mean, if you call
Go down to the sheriff's office and see if you got a warrant."
if you call
Test your luck, buddy.
if you call the sheriff's office and say, "Hey, do I have any warrants?" Well, who is this? Oh, this is Joe Blow. Well, if you'll come down here, we'll tell you whether you do or not.
And we'll go ahead and get you too.
But we ain't gonna tell you over the phone,
that you can
and then
run?
us have to run and hunt you. If you want to know, you can come see us.
Yeah.
Speaking of Scannerland, real quick, I want to get off on a little quick tangent. Did I dream it up, or did they used to say that Santa Claus was over center on the
yeah.
scanner?
Swear.
Yeah, every Christmas Eve it was because like I said, everybody had scanners, and I don't know how many kids listen to scanners at
Well, it's
8 or
always
9,
in the
10,
background, I
but
swear.
it's always in the background. But we had this deal that, it was either a dispatcher or somebody working would say, "Hey, I see a red glow going across the sky over such and such area of the county." And then everybody would start chiming in. And, I remember y'all listening to it. I wasn't off a whole lot during Christmas Eve, because I was always working. But when I was there and they would start that, your mother would always turn it up so they can hear that, and then it would get all the excitement. I mean, you could see the excitement on y'all's face. Santa Claus is in Gainesville. Oh, now they're in Cedar Bluff.
Didn't even know where Gainesville was. I swore Gainesville was like 2 hours from here.
Dude, it probably felt like 2 hours to children.
I swear.
But we had a lot of fun with that.
I bet that's so sweet too. Like that's such a sweet thing for like the community like to do. That's
Do they still
lovely.
do that?
We can't do it now because
It's
Well,
private.
the sheriff's
Scannerland
office-
isn't a thing
the
anymore.
sheriff's office, we have an encryption on our channel. There's another law enforcement 911 that the other agencies in the county uses, but we're on
You're on a totally different channel from the other people.
we're separate from everybody else in the county. Now we can hear them and they can hear us,
But they can't come in and talk.
but they can get on our channel and talk. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But as far as you buying a scanner, you can't listen to our channel at the sheriff's office because it's an encrypted channel. You could listen to the law enforcement channel, which everybody else operates off of, but you have to have a special scanner that reaches to that level. They call it 800, 900 megahertz, and it's an expensive scanner. So there's not that many people listening to it.
Yeah,
You know,
they're not
like
gonna pay
there
for that.
was back in the day.
Well, just real quick about the Santa Claus thing. Did y'all like organize like what time you were gonna do that and who was gonna start it? Or was
No,
it
it was just one of those
random?
things that somebody just said, "Well, it's about that time."
Oh, okay.
You know.
Did you ever get to start it?
I don't think I ever started it.
Did you ever were you ever included in it? Did you ever chime in and be like, "Oh,
yeah.
here he is over John's
Yeah.
Crossroads"?
Yeah, I did that. I
Would
played
you
the game.
Would you say that like? Would you call Mama or anything like when you knew?
No, there was always a radio You know, even if I was at work, there was another radio or a scanner
But
going.
did she know to listen out for it?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
okay, okay.
Yeah,
Probably
she knew to
happened.
listen.
That
Now, your
was,
mother always wanted a scanner or a radio going when y'all were little, so that
Yeah.
she knew what I was doing. Keep up. With
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, so kind of switching gears here. So we're going to talk about changes from being a police officer in the early 2000s to now in 2024. So has there been any laws to change? I mean, I'm sure there has, maybe.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of laws. There's some kind of change to a law about every year or every other year, especially the domestic violence laws. There's always some kind of something evolving and changing with those laws.
For the better.
Yeah, it's to either up the sentence or to add more crimes to the domestic violence realm. Used to domestic violence, you had like an assault, harassment, or something like that. That's where you're physically touching somebody. Now you can get a domestic violence for just coming on somebody's property, which is
Really?
domestic violence trespassing.
I thought domestic violence had to be between a husband and a wife. It couldn't be between siblings.
Somebody asked me about that the other day at work because they knew that you were a police officer, and they asked me specifically.
So
I
if
thought domestic violence was like between family.
it is, that's
Okay.
the reason it's domestic.
That live in the same household.
They could have previously lived in the same household. So you can have a male and a female that are married for 25 years and be divorced for 15, and then for some reason they reconnect either by just
With fist.
walking past somebody in the Walmart or whatever and think of something. I mean, I'm just making up something, but think of something that happened in the past while they were married and just walk up and she punches him in the face.
Oh,
Well,
see,
it becomes domestic violence because they're an ex-partner.
Okay.
okay. See, I thought it had to happen at a house to be
No, it could
domestic
happen on the
violence.
street.
Like if I come over here and just like start wailing on Callie.
It won't happen.
No. But I'm just
I would
saying.
throw you on the floor before you got that far.
So, no, it doesn't matter where. It doesn't have to be in a house. It could be going down the road in a car. It could be just in the park, you know.
But it could also be siblings.
Well,
Or is it mostly for ex, like spouse,
there's
wife,
a
boyfriend,
list.
girlfriend?
There's a list of, stipulations or requirements for that to happen, for it to fall into that category. If you got two brothers that grew up to one another, of course, in the same household, and then they've been separated from one another for 25 years, you're not going to be able to charge them with domestic violence because they're brothers.
But if they were both, let's say, one of them was 18, one of them was 20, they still both live with their parents and they start like wailing on each other. Would
Yeah.
that be
Yeah,
considered?
absolutely.
Okay, so do y'all have, like, after you get a report on what was done and that kind of thing, do y'all have, like, somebody or something and you just, like, type up a description and then it, like, pops out, okay, this is domestic violence, here's what this charge is, and it just lines up a bunch of different charges? Like, do y'all have to look into stuff like that?
Or do you just have to remember what you're
You
going
just
to
have to
charge
know.
them with? After you
Okay.
write the report.
When we're writing a report, as we're on the scene taking the information, we
Going through it.
already know what the charge is before we ever get the report finished.
So do y'all charge them? Like, you do the report and then you charge them? Or do you have to, like, send it to somebody and they're
Well,
like, okay,
no,
this
it's-
is what this is?
It's according to, like, if I pull up at a scene and there's a male and a female that are married that have been in a physical altercation and there's marks to show that, then I can make an arrest on the scene. It's called a warrantless arrest. There's only 2 warrantless arrests that you can make on a misdemeanor without going and obtaining a warrant first, and that's a DUI and a domestic violence misdemeanor. It doesn't have to happen in my presence for me to make that arrest.
Oh, okay.
If it's a felony, I can make a warrantless arrest.
Period.
Period.
Like murder.
Yes. But if it's a misdemeanor, it has to be either a domestic violence or a DUI for me to be able to make a warrantless arrest. If 2 people get in a fight at Walmart over a sweater they want to buy,
Black Friday fight.
and it's just 2 people that they may know one another, but it's not a domestic violence, then we have to do a report, and then they have to go sign the warrant somewhere else. Unless they're actively fighting when I pull up.
Oh, okay.
You know, if they're actively fighting when I pull up,
They
then,
both go
then
to
that
jail.
fight is happening in my presence. So I can make a warrant. I can make a warrantless arrest on a misdemeanor because it happened in my presence. Otherwise,
Got it.
you got to do the report, tell them to come get a copy of the report, and they can take it to the clerk or magistrate and try to get a warrant for somebody. And then once the warrant's obtained, then we'll take the warrant and go put them in jail.
Okay.
Do y'all seek people out, or do y'all just, if you run up on them,
You're like, hey,
run
we
up
got a
on
warrant for them.
Like, let's say, Buddy's driving down the road. Y'all have had a warrant for him for like 3 years. Y'all pull him over because he's got a broke tail light, and you don't know he's got a warrant. You run the tag. He's driving his sister's car. You go up. You run his driver's license. He's got a warrant. Like, had y'all been looking for this guy, or since he's had the warrant for 3 years, y'all just kind of gave up and was just waiting until you catch him, or like?
I mean, sometimes that's what you have to do, but we do go out and look for folks, you know, especially the newer warrants. There's warrants coming out every day, you know, so we got folks that'll just come into work, and if there's not calls going out, they'll get 2 or 3 of them gathered up, and then they'll say, hey, well, let's go pick up so-and-so or so-and-so, and then they'll go try to serve the warrant and pick them up and bring them to jail and get the warrants through the process.
Is that what bounty hunters are for?
No, bounty hunters or something, they're not even law enforcement.
No, I'm just saying, do they hunt people that have warrants and then?
No, they hunt people that come off that if
Oh, bonds.
bondsmen,
people.
they work for bonding companies,
Yeah.
and if you don't show up for court,
They're going to find you.
they're going to find you, because if you don't show up for court and they've bonded you out, then they've put money up to court saying that they're going to guarantee you to be there. And if you don't show up, then they're going to go get you and put you back in jail so they can clear their bond off the court system.
They get their money back.
Now, I don't know if they get it all back,
Oh.
you know,
Okay.
but they're going to put them back in jail. That's what a bondsman or a bounty hunter does.
Do you agree?
We serve actual true warrants that are active, either because they didn't show up for court and didn't pay their fines, or it's, you know, a new warrant where somebody's signed a warrant on somebody for whatever, and then we have to go get them and put them in jail so that they get a court date to go to court against that situation.
Do they have to have any kind of certifications, or can just anybody be a bounty hunter? And do they?
I don't
Have y'all
know
ever
what-
had one here in town?
Well, every bonds company's got some kind of bounty hunters. They usually do it locally. They usually do it themselves. I mean, they got people that work for them that go out and try to pick up their revoke or their bond to put them back in jail because they skipped out of court or whatever. But we don't do that for them. We don't do any bounty hunting for
Well, see,
nobody.
I wasn't sure if they did stuff
That's
for
a
y'all.
civil matter in our realm. That's not a criminal matter. That's a civil matter because they made an agreement with somebody to show up for court if they bond them out, and they didn't show up, so they're responsible to get them back if they want something done with that bond. That
Okay.
has nothing to do with law enforcement.
Well, let me give you this. So, the bounty hunters or whatever, they go and try to get that guy, but then there's an altercation. Like, if they're busting up in their house, you know.
Do they have the rights to bust?
Yeah, they got a right to go in somebody's house.
Oh, okay. So
They got money out there, you know, so they can, you know, if they find out you're hiding in the closet and you got 14 padlocks on there, they can rip the doors off to get you.
y'all ain't gonna do anything
Ain't
about it.
nothing to us.
Okay. So back to the early 2000s versus now. What kind of training did y'all have back then versus now? Like different technology or just?
Well,
you
yeah,
go for it?
there's a good bit of technology. I mean, y'all seen my duty belt. I'm loaded with all kinds of equipment. When I first started, we didn't have tasers. You know, we had a mag light and a can of spray. You know,
and a stick.
and a hasp or a asp. You know, an expandable asp, ASP.
Well, you talking about one of those sticks?
ASPCA.
It's you've seen that little short
a
black
baton?
stick that you swing. It's kind of
That's
like
what I
a
just
baton.
said.
Yeah, and then it extends as you swing.
Yeah,
it
that's
out,
what I'm
you
talking
know.
Like a
about. You just
lightsaber.
beat on them with it.
It ain't got no light on it.
Have you ever used that?
Hey,
No,
hey, but when you get hit
I've
with
wanted
it,
to with a dog that tried to attack me before, but
when you
not
get
on
hit
nobody.
with it though, you see the light.
oh, it hurts. It hurts.
That's a good one. Okay. So do you have anything else to add to like training or whatever?
So yeah, like I said, we didn't have tasers when I first started, so we have tasers now. That's something that's evolved. We have what they call a bowler wrap now, that I call the Batman tool.
Oh, yes.
You know, it shoots out this long cord, and then it just kind of wraps them up. You know, and
How does it wrap them up?
well, I mean, it's shooting out at a high velocity, and there's two prongs that are like on each end.
So it
Not
just goes-
prong. I shouldn't say
Oh,
prongs.
so it goes around?
You know what a grapple hook looks like?
Yeah.
It's a miniature grapple hook, so it's weighted, and then there's a 9-foot cord between two of those. When it is fired and deployed, then it goes straight out in like a
like that, and then it goes.
V. You know, when it leaves in a V shape, and then when it extends all the way out, and say it
Comes
hits
to that
you,
point.
when it hits you, then those
wraps.
projectiles that are going out, they got to go somewhere. So when that center hits you, then it just kind of wraps around, and then it hooks into your clothing.
Oh,
but
so
it
it
don't
will
hook
like
into
it
your
could
skin.
it could stab you though.
Yeah, but
sharp is
the likelihood of it like stabbing you and hurting you like a taser prong
It'd
would.
just be like that.
Well, I mean it's gonna hit with some force. So, but it's
Well, I mean,
not.
I didn't
gonna,
want to jab you.
it's not
I
going
will
to
if
come
you want
out.
me to.
You know, very. It's not likely to just fall out.
Have you ever
Yeah.
used it?
The bowler wrap. I have not been able to use that bowler wrap
But
yet.
you want to,
But
though.
I've had it deployed on me before, you know.
Was it
so
funny?
everything that we told on our duty belts, we have to experience.
Except for a gun.
Except getting shot. They don't shoot us. Why should they have to electrocute us? I didn't never understand that.
That's what I don't understand.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so normally you would like to chase whoever's running. Okay. And you told me the other day that you let the younger guys chase now instead of you having to do it.
Yeah, I'm getting old.
Why do you not use the Batman tool
Well,
instead?
that thing, you're not supposed to deploy the Batman tool or the bowler wrap, you know, especially if you're aiming at their legs. You don't want to,
Trip them and make them.
you're not
all their
supposed to
teeth
deploy
fall
that
out.
thing while they're in flight.
Oh,
And then
'Cause they would
cause
just
them
fall
to trip
immediately.
and then end up busting their face up, you know?
Or hit a rock and
okay.
die.
Yeah. So, you know,
So instead, just tackle them like a football player and take your chance.
that was what we did back in the day.
Okay.
We run
But
'em-
honestly-
it's what they call a hawk 'em down.
How fun is it, though?
Oh, I love foot chases. It is so fun.
Are you sad that you don't get to chase them no more?
Sometimes, you know, when I hear somebody who's been in a foot chase, I'm like, man, I miss them days.
Do you ever, like, just try to do one just for funsies every now and
No,
then?
I would lose. I'm slow now.
Can I beat you in a race
I'm
now?
slow.
We're gonna have to go out there and race.
But now look, that gear that I wear every day is an extra 30 or 35
True,
pounds
true.
on top of what I'm already putting on.
Just
so
start pulling it off as you're running.
it's not easy just to rip off either. So you don't
Yeah.
want to come behind you trying to pick all that garbage up. So.
Okay, so let me ask you this: have you ever just like, kind of like Caitlin said, have you ever just you saw them kind of start to like inch away or kind of want to take off, and you knew they were gonna run, but you just let them go for a second so you could just haul tail at them?
I ain't gonna sit here and lie. Yeah, I've kind of
Play with 'em.
let them play a little bit. You know,
I'm going to
thinking
give you a 5-second head start.
Hey, I didn't give them no 5 seconds because I wouldn't have never caught them if I'd have given them 5 seconds. But I've always been pretty good for about 100 yards. You know,
You
Full
can sprint.
I get you before 100
Like
yards.
Usain Bolt.
Yeah,
I
I was shooting 100% when I quit chasing, so
Oh, you don't want to
I
go.
didn't never let nobody get away.
I got you. You think you could beat the freeze at the Braves game?
I think you could beat the
No,
freeze.
there's no way.
Daddy, I think you could, bro.
If he get-
I
if
can see your
if
hands.
he let me start at center field when he takes off, I could beat him.
Dude,
Don't they let them start like a ways off?
they do it like right between center. It's like center right field.
Yeah.
You get center right field, and then
Yeah,
they
I don't think I could beat that guy.
Dude,
Okay, let
I
me say,
think
he's
if you
made-
train with all your gear
I've ran
on.
with Jeff Hart before, and I couldn't beat him. I know.
Oh,
I
is he
can't-
fast?
Jeff
Dude,
Hart.
I've
Oh
never
my
seen him
gosh.
run.
Uncle Hart's like Granddaddy Long
Oh
Legs.
yeah, he can pick him up and put him down.
He probably takes one stride, and
his-
it's like,
Well, his one stride was like 15 for me. It seemed like, you know,
Dude, it's like he was just.
and he ain't even,
Lunging.
he don't even have to breathe hard to take that many strides. You know,
He's probably
I'm
just like,
right
come
running
on, bub,
twice
come on,
as
bub.
fast.
he takes 2 steps and he's gone 5 yards.
Yeah, really. I mean, and that's when he's running. You
You
know,
play
Yeah.
football?
huh?
Did he play football?
I don't know if he played football.
If
I know he
he
played
played-
basketball.
Dude,
I was about to
if
say,
he
he's gotta
played
play basketball.
I bet he was unbeatable.
Yeah, he's pretty quick.
But do you think 20-year-old Bo, or whatever age you were and you were the fastest, do you think
25.
you could beat the Freeze?
I probably could if he gave me a little bit of head start.
See.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you give me left center left center field, I think I could take him.
I think you could
At
too.
that age.
Oh, I realized just a second ago. I said right center. It's left center. Sorry.
Yeah, it's left center.
Okay.
It was when I went with y'all.
Yeah. It is. I don't know. I was thinking that they definitely don't get you right center. He would never beat anybody.
No. Well, he could beat some people.
Hey, I will say we watched this one girl one time, and
He
she
could
literally.
beat Halen at right center. Right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
Because she ain't running.
But there was this one girl.
She is.
She was like
Not
so
that
slow.
No.
She looked like she was going in slow motion, and I thought, this is a joke. Where'd they get this girl?
Dude, if
Wasn't
I
even
was
fun.
out there trying to do that, I would be trying to run so fast, I'd trip over my feet. Like my head would be like way up ahead
You
of my
could
body.
beat the Heat at the Rome Braves game.
Oh,
Beat the heat
absolutely.
every day that I work.
No.
hot.
You know what
With
I'm
this
talking
little
about?
tube.
Like it's a. Okay, we're not being judgy here. They literally say this. It's a fat guy, and he gets the head start, and you have to beat him. You could
That's
beat
why
him.
he's the Heat.
Yeah,
Might be.
you beat the Heat,
I got
or
you.
you beat the Freeze. But
Yeah.
anyway, we move.
But I did always like foot chase.
Yeah.
I never liked car chases, but I like foot chases.
I want
Do car
to.
chases? Sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. I had a question about the bowler wrap. I hadn't forgot about the guy.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I want to know how do it feel when it wraps around you?
You know, I really never felt it. I saw it coming. It's
Faster than the
loud.
speed of light.
It is very loud.
Really?
Yes,
Is it
because
like
there's two
air
380
can?
rounds in there.
Like a
that's-
gunshot?
Yeah, it's like simultaneous.
Dang.
2 gunshots simultaneously going off. No, not
No,
back to back.
simul.
Simultaneously.
Oh, my bad. I
at
didn't
the same
understand
time.
that.
They're going off, and it is loud. It's an explosion in the end of that little.
Are they coming out of like a 380 round?
Yeah, there's a 380 round that's down in there. 2 of them sitting in a V shape, and when it deploys, that's what pushes those cartridges out.
Is that your favorite gadget?
I never have gotten to
Well, I
use
know
it.
you hadn't been able to use it, but I'm saying if you were to pick the ones in your belt, would you pick that one?
He picking the freeze plus.
I don't even tote the freeze anymore, so you know, it's hard to say.
Okay.
You know, it's a toss up between it and a taser. So I've only tased one person, so
Oh,
I
really?
really hadn't used it.
So
once.
you've hardly ever used anything in your belt.
other
better-
than
hey.
handcuffs.
Better
that doesn't
to,
count.
Better to not need it and have it than need it and not have it.
That's the reason I have so
You
much
just said
stuff
that.
on my belt. A lot of people's like, "My God, have you got anything else you can put on there?"
Oh, I'm
well, I
sorry.
don't have to go back to
did.
the truck.
Hold on.
I said it
Better
wrong.
have it, not need it. Need it, not have it.
Yeah, I don't
Thank
even
you,
know what-
Greg. Shout out to you.
I don't even know what I said.
I'm not gonna. tell you
Daddy's
what I said.
always said that too.
Yeah.
Well, I've heard it mostly from Greg because I swear he always says it anywhere we go. He says, "Well, better to have it, not need it, not have it." That's
why I
always,
overpack.
always.
That's
But-
the reason I got so much stuff on my duty belt, so that I don't have to go back to the truck after nothing.
Okay, so moving on. What do you feel about the crime rate? I guess here in Cherokee County versus 2000. Is it the same?
No, it's by far more.
Worse? Really?
Yes.
What
yes.
is it like? More
Well,
drugs?
everything's drug related in some way. I mean, every burglary and theft that we have in the county is drug related. There's just no doubt. You know, I mean, everything. I ain't gonna say everything. 85% of all the crime in Cherokee County evolves around drugs in some shape, form.
Well,
or
you can
fashion.
tell. I mean, just by looking at the inmate roster, most of it is.
Well, I mean, you know, y'all were raised not to go out and steal and burglarize people's houses.
Yeah.
Most everybody is, you know. But at the same time,
You'll do a lot of stuff for some.
if you don't have a job, then how do you get your money?
Yeah.
Sell drugs.
You either sell drugs or you go steal stuff and trade it for drugs or trade it for money.
Scrap metal.
Scrap metal was a thing back in several years ago. The prices of scrap metal was really high.
I was going to say, you don't
And
even get that much.
everybody was stealing people's junk. I mean, literally.
Granddaddy had some
they're
scrap metal
junk.
skull, didn't he?
They're junk. I don't remember if he did or not, but I mean, if somebody saw a old hay rake in somebody's yard as yard art or yard ornament, they would actually stop in the middle of the night and steal it
Pick it up.
because it would bring a lot of money, when they carry it to the scrapyard.
Right on.
But
Okay.
yes, crime it's worse now than it was, and it's a lot more dangerous now than it was when I first started 25 years ago.
Okay, I was about to say, do you feel like
I mean, I'm not going to say that if anybody ever tells you you're comfortable in law enforcement dealing with somebody, because you're always dealing with the unknown.
yeah.
If we there's no such thing as a routine traffic stop, because every traffic stop has
There's different people driving through
it's
there.
got its own dangers in different ways, Mm-hmm. I mean, a domestic call, to me, a domestic call is probably one of the worst calls that we can answer because, we had a deputy that was working when I first started, and he's like, the worst ones that I see is like, a domestic, and you got family members fighting. Well, when you pull up, if they're still actively fighting and you try to break them up,
They're going to all turn.
they're going to turn on you,
Not to mention
There's that possibility. Anything's possible, but, a domestic violence call to me is sometimes worse than just making a traffic stop and telling somebody that they run the stop sign,
Yeah.
Well, they also, that's their home. That's where they're going to keep their weapons. You
Yeah.
don't know if they got in there.
Right.
So you would agree that you feel more unsafe now than you did in 2000s?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Because back in the day, you didn't even have to lock your front door, did you?
I mean, when I was growing up, our house was always locked, but I remember when I was a kid, we would go to Papa and Granny's house and stay where your granddaddy and Mama live now. They never locked their doors.
Just
you-
roll
do
up
you
in
In
miss
the
those?
70s and the 80s, I don't even know that they ever locked their doors
Do you miss those
for any
days?
reason.
You miss
Oh
those?
yeah, absolutely. Life was so simple.
I swear.
Well, I didn't think it was when I was a kid growing up. Just like y'all didn't think life was simple when y'all lived at home, and was little. I'm sure y'all never really thought about it, but you think about it now, compared to what y'all are looking at now. You're married and got a kid. You're fixing to get married in a couple of months. How simple was life when you was 5 and 6 years old and you didn't have no worries?
I swear.
Right.
I
If
still.
I could go back and slap
I mean,
my
if everybody could go
self
back
for
and just be a
saying I hate
kid
school.
at 6, 7 years old, I mean, why is school so bad? It's not bad. That's the easiest part of your life.
That's
Hindsight's
true.
2020 though.
Yeah.
It took me growing up to learn that I wish I would have just not
Applied
wished it
yourself.
away.
Yeah.
I will say, I told somebody the other day at work that I wish I was born in like the 70s.
See, I always thought I would like to live in your mama and granddaddy's era.
See, I think it's just a
I feel
generational
like
thing. because it's
everybody
gonna get
wants
so
to go
much.
back to the
That song with Jamie Johnson,
So you didn't
color.
In Color.
Yeah.
Listen to that song. You listen to the words of that song, and all they had was black and white photos. You think about when you looking at, I'm sure y'all looked at old photo albums of Mama and Granddaddy's. You look at those and they're all black and white. And you think, was the world black and white then?
Yeah.
I swear, I used to think it was. I
I
swear.
did too when I was a kid.
You know, I didn't understand the meaning of that song. I mean, I'd heard it because y'all used to play it all the time, but like I was listening to it the other day and I was loading the dishwasher and I was really thinking about it and I thought, dang, I know what he's saying now. Like,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
deep.
I swear.
That made me sad a little bit.
Yeah, but I
Didn't
thought
even
that
live
the
in
other
those
day
songs.
just because like the world's not gonna get any better,
No, it's
It's
not.
just
It's
gonna
gonna
get
get
much worse.
keep getting worse.
and we're gonna be right in the middle of it, middle age, like, and then our kids having to go through it, like that's gonna suck a lot,
You always want better for your kids than what you have.
and it's not gonna be that way.
But I'm
I don't
I hate
see it.
World-wise.
I hate to say it, worldly wise.
Yeah.
My childhood was 10 times better than y'all's was.
Yeah, I bet it was.
I just
Russian
think
spies
it
every
was.
night.
Oh yeah, that was awesome. I mean, it wasn't. The only thing we worried about when we got up is what time are we gonna get to start Russian spies. And I know people don't have a clue what this is, but all it was a glorified
Hide and
game
seek
of
in the
hide and
dark.
seek
It was
in the
extreme
dark,
hide and seek.
and we used four-wheelers
Run each other over.
to find whoever was hiding. We had two on a four-wheeler that had a spotlight on it, and we rode around one another's, or we always went to this one yard, and everybody go hide, and it's just a glorified game of hide and seek. But
And like all your friends were like in the same neighborhood, were they not? And like
There
you didn't have
was-
to worry about who you didn't need to go to this person's house because their parents were crazy. Like,
right. Everybody, I mean, there was probably 10 of us, maybe more, at one point that was playing.
But y'all all went to church together. You
We
went
grew
to the
up
same
together,
school.
you
you
know,
lived
and
in
we
the
were
same
all
neighborhood.
within, there wasn't, like David was several years older than me, 3 years older than me, and,
there's like a 3 to 5 age range.
Barclays.
yeah, there wasn't any, from David to Lance.
Was Lance the youngest?
Was a big gap, but he was the youngest one in the neighborhood, So, and his brother Scott was a year behind me, and then Lance was several years behind Scott. So,
Yeah,
from
but you got to
David-
take the siblings.
Huh?
You got to take the siblings.
gotta
I mean, everybody played, you know?
But they were
Yeah.
boys too.
Yeah,
that's
true.
true.
They didn't care.
So,
Okay.
Oh, I had a question.
I have the question.
I have to question. Okay, so back to the drug stuff. What, in your opinion, would be good to help fix the drug problem? Like, have you ever thought this would maybe fix it? Like, do you have any ideas?
I really don't have any ideas as to what would solve the problem other than, you got to start young. You got to implement. You can't be raised in a drug environment
And expect
that
your
there's
kids are going to be Harvard
that
graduates.
there's going to be a different outcome. Somebody at some point's got to break the cycle. Whether it be in, and what I mean by that is, if a kid is raised in a drug environment, and well, let's just take your mama for example. I know y'all have already done a podcast on her, and everybody's
that's
watching
fine.
this knows what she went through from watching her podcast. But she broke the cycle, So she was raised in, and I don't know that much about her family, other than what she's told me.
That was a generational curse. I feel like.
And it was over and over and over and over. And then when she got out of that and saw what could be, for her life, she broke the cycle. And I think it works the same way with drugs in being raised in a drug home or whatever. Somebody's got to eventually realize, hey, we've got to break the cycle because I don't want my kids living in this. I don't want to do this, So.
Yeah.
Callie's just over here flicking her nails.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize she'd pushed the button.
She left for a minute, came back though.
I mentally
about-
took a break. Okay. So she had
It
mentally.
is Wednesday,
she
You're-
mentally checked
You're over
out.
halfway done with
Hey,
your week.
tomorrow is my Friday, and I'm thankful. Okay, so tell us how you have developed into like a community figure, because like anybody
A local
anybody,
celebrity, if you
or
will.
even a nobody, is like, that guy's Bo Jolly, and he eats at the Waffle King every week.
I guess it's because of the way I've always tried to treat people with respect, whether they were doing wrong or not. I tried to always listen to what they had to say, and I've always had this thought in my mind, and this is just an example. So if I deal with you on some kind of an assault, and or some case, whatever it may be, and I'm dealing with you, and I'm just hateful to you, demeaning to you, just a horrible person toward you with an attitude of, why am I here? Why are you calling us, over and over? And it doesn't matter how many times I've been to a house, even the same night on a call or the same day on a call, and it's continuous over and over. It gets frustrating dealing with the same people and the same problems over and over. Now, it doesn't matter if you go to the same call 20 times in a shift. neither one of those calls are going to be exactly the same because there's something different all the time.
Yeah.
So it's not humdrum, as you might say. But, sorry. Time out.
Oh shoot! I meant to just pause it. Okay.
So it's not that that it's humdrum, but it is where you go to the same one. But I've always tried to look at it like this. If I deal with you today, I'm going to treat you the same way today as I would if you're standing behind me in the grocery line and you trying to talk to me in the grocery line. I'm going to be as kind as you'll let me be. And I'm going to treat you as good as you'll let me treat you. But if you want to take it to the next level, then that's what we're going to do.
Like if you're gonna disrespect me,
If you're going to disrespect me,
We'll have a different tone.
I'm not going to blatantly disrespect you,
Right.
but I'm
But
going
you
to
gotta handle it.
But I'm going to have a different tone to let you know that I'm in charge. Because look, I may be at your house, and this may be your house, but I got called here for a reason, and I'm in charge when I'm at your house.
And you're trying to do
I'm
your
gonna handle my
job.
business, and when we get done handling business, then we either can shake hands and walk away happy, or I can just leave. But I'm gonna handle the business when I'm there. But what I was leading up to say to this is, I've always tried to treat people as good as they'll let me treat them, and if they'll let me treat them with respect, that's what they're gonna get. Whether they're, the
town drunk or
the town drunk or the town mayor, whatever it may be. But I always looked at it like this. If I'm on the side of the road fighting a guy and I put you in jail last week for some crime that you didn't agree with, I would like to think that you're going to ride by and you're going to say, hey, that's Bo Jolly. He's fighting that guy in the ditch. I'm going to back
He
up
needs
and help
help.
him because he was good to me on my call.
Yeah.
He treated me fairly. No matter what he had to do with his job, he treated me fairly. But I've always looked at it like that is, if I'm fighting and wrestling somebody in the ditch, I'd like to know that the passerbyers that recognize me that I've put in jail would stop and back up and say, I'm helping you because you was good to me, Bo.
Yeah. Do you think that it doesn't matter whose kind of case you've worked on, whose house you've been at, dealing with them, whatever? Do you think when they see you out in public, they think you frown upon them or you judge them?
I don't think so. Because it doesn't matter if I've been to their house one time or 20 times in a shift. I'm going to treat them with respect every time.
No. I'm saying, do you think they think so awful of themselves? Like,
probably
he
not.
was such a nice guy. And like, but no, I'm saying like if they turn their life around. That's what
Oh.
I'm saying. Like, do you
Now,
think
there has
they're
been-
ashamed of themselves and they're like, oh, Bo's such a good guy, and I'm out here in public. What does he think of me because he's had to come to my house?
Like the
Whether
guy,
it was
there-
for instance, that you
I don't-
wrestled and busted your chin
Chin.
open. If he has
I
straightened
saw
his
him.
life
I
up,
saw him the very next week, and he walked up and apologized.
so he
We
probably was
talked about that
ashamed.
last week,
Yeah.
and he walked up and told me. He said, "You're never going to have any more trouble out of me. Whatever you tell me to do, I'll do."
And I bet you hadn't.
And I've never had to deal with him again.
Yeah.
Not one time.
He might have straightened his life up.
But even like family members, like the people that had to call, they didn't do anything wrong, but they had to get their family under control, like that kind of thing.
I
Do you
understand
think
what
they're
you're saying,
ashamed?
and they do. The people are.
They're probably embarrassed.
They've told me.
Yeah.
Man, I hate you had to come to my house. I
you-
hate that you had to see this side of whatever's going on. But I've actually had people, I don't have to wonder if they thought that.
They
They've
have.
actually told me.
Would you like to publicly state that you just don't blatantly judge them, and every time you see them,
Yeah,
you're
I
like,
don't
man, I
judge.
had to go to their house.
I don't judge anybody for me having to do my job at their house on the side of the road or wherever it's at. I'm not going to think any less of you today as I did yesterday.
That's what I'm saying.
Just because I had to do my job and deal with you in public for whatever reason or wherever it may be, I'm not going to think any less of you 5 minutes after I leave as I did before, because I didn't probably know you before I got there.
Yeah.
And if I did, I just don't think that way about people.
Yeah.
You
I
probably don't cross your mind again after you leave, like you said, and you're done for the day. You probably don't think about it anymore, and you're like,
Man,
it
if
is
you run
what
into
it
me
is.
at the grocery store and I put you in jail last week, if you look at me and attempt, like, if I think that you're going to speak to me, I'm going to speak to you. And I'm not going to act any different just because I put you in jail.
Yeah.
Probably going to shake your hand or whatever. How you doing? I hope everything's going well for you. You
Yeah.
know? Because 9 times out of 10, when I put somebody in jail, when I pull up in that Sally Port, whether I put them in jail on a warrant or I put them in jail because I had to arrest them on a call that I was on, when they go inside that jail, before I even walk off from them, I usually say, well, good luck with whatever's going on, you know, or good luck with your case, you know.
Yeah.
And I ain't saying that sarcastically. You know, I'm like, hey, I hope
Hope it works out for you.
it works out for you, you know, because it doesn't affect me whether it does or not. But
you
want
want
the
to see
best
them
for
do
'em.
better.
you know, right, you know,
Yeah.
and I don't know. It's just, there are officers in the world in this trade. I call it a trade, but it's actually a calling, I guess you might say, because this is not for anybody.
No.
You know, not anybody can do this job. You know, so, but there are people that just shrug everything off and just, well, that's just a dope head. You know, he's just a piece of crap. He don't mean nothing in life. Hey, I've had to get on to my people before
For being buttholes.
for being buttholes
I love how you
because of the way they treat people. You know, one time I had a guy that was working for me, and if he's listening to this podcast, he's gonna know that I'm calling him, but I'm not gonna call his name because he's a good friend of mine. But he called me on the phone and said, "Hey, I'm up here doing a search warrant with these guys, and man, we've tore this house apart looking for this dope." And I said, "What do you mean tore this house apart?" He said, "We tore it apart, man. Everything is upside down. There ain't nothing in the drawers, clothes." I said, "Man, them people still human. You can't do that.
Raiding
can't-
their house like
You
the
cannot
FBI.
tear up people's property just because you got a search warrant to go in there, you know." And he's like, "Man, they're just dope heads. They're selling dope to kids on the street." I said, "I don't care. They're still human. You can't do people's property."
That's still
that
their
way."
home.
He thanked me later and understood why. He was mad at me when I said that to him, you know, on the phone. But after he got thinking about it, he's like, "Man, you were right. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
I played into what everybody else was doing, you know." And it's easy to get sucked into something, you know,
Yeah.
Peer pressure.
not only in law enforcement, but just in general life, you know.
Yeah.
Like you said, it's peer pressure, you know. But there are folks out there that don't have any respect for themselves, and if they ain't gonna respect themselves, they certainly ain't gonna respect us.
Right.
You know?
The only reason I asked, real quick before we, the only reason I asked is because if I was one of those people in that situation, you had to come to my house and deal with me or my kids, whatever, it would help me feel better to know that, like, you just didn't think of them as, like, a piece of garbage. That's why I asked. Okay, so again, I wanted to ask that because I do have a friend that, you know, you had to go and work at their house. You had to go over there for a call one night. And I won't give any kind of details, but she was worried about it and had asked me, "Did your dad tell you, you know, that he had to come to my house last night or whenever it was?"
Yeah.
And I was like, "No, like, he doesn't tell me stuff like that. Like, I didn't know about it till you just said that because that's not our business. Like, he's not supposed to tell us that kind of stuff. And just because we're family don't mean he comes home and just gives us all the juicy details on what, like, all the people we know." You know,
I
like,
mean, and there's a lot of times that, you know, y'all wanted to know what's going on,
yeah.
and I wouldn't give you any information.
Yeah, and it does suck, but at the same time, it's just like we gotta understand, like, that's, you don't do that job to come home and talk about it, and it's not right. Like, it's kind of like,
Well, it really
being a
ain't
doctor and
nobody's business.
confidentiality.
Well,
Like,
it's
that
kind of like a HIPAA thing, you know. We don't have to sign a HIPAA form every time we go to somebody's house, but you got to treat it like that because, you know, you don't want to air out everybody else's. This ain't Facebook.
You also don't want to mess up a case if there's a possible case.
Exactly.
well,
And have this lawyer over here saying, "Oh, well, this person told me that Bo was over here saying this to this person."
Right.
And then it's going to throw the whole case against that person out because you leaked info.
Right.
but I will say, like, things like that, you know, getting a call, and this has to do with the same person, but, you know, they'll end up turning their life around, and, you know, she ended up working with me and Mama and Carly, and I don't know that she knew Carly, but she knew me, and because I knew her mom, and then she eventually found out who Mama was, and had told her that, you know, like, if he hadn't have come in that night and, you know, kind of straightened me out, like I wouldn't be straightened out right now. And so I feel like that's a really good thing.
And that's a satisfying part of the job is to people do occasionally walk up and say, "Hey, man, if it hadn't been for you, Mo, I don't know where I'd be right now." You know, I may not even remember who they are. You know, and it's not that I just forget people, but you know,
You deal with a lot of stuff.
I deal with a lot of people. I've dealt with a lot of people in 25 years in this county. A lot of them I know. A lot of them I remember. There's some that I don't remember. There's some that, you know, I have said, "Well, you're gonna have to help me because
Yeah.
I can't place what you're
Dude,
talking about."
I know how you feel because I used to be able to remember people so easy, and now I'm like, who are you?
Yeah, I can't. I don't have a good memory of calling somebody's name or remembering specific details that happened 20 years ago. Whereas, you know, somebody like your mama, she remembers everything.
Yeah, that's
You know?
I've always thought about Caitlin doing that.
But
I
it
used
is
to be able to do
satisfying to know that somebody walks up to you
And you
or
influence
tells a
their life.
family member to tell me, "Hey, tell Bo I appreciate what he done for me."
that. Yeah.
And I may have not have had but just a minute role in that part, you know, or in what happened to them.
Yeah.
But they wanted me to know that.
But the
hey,
smallest
I appreciate-
things make the biggest difference.
That's right. That's exactly right. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
and it makes you feel good that somebody's
Appreciative of what you're doing.
appreciative of that and goes the extra mile to say, "Hey, I just want to let you know I appreciate you, Bo."
Yeah.
You know,
That's
for
one of, like-
whatever the situation was, I still appreciate what your part was because it helped me.
Right.
So, you know, I mean, there's probably not a whole lot of reward that comes out in being a police officer, but I
No.
bet that's one of the best rewards.
That's top of the line right there. Is to know that you've served that public.
Yeah.
You know, that patch says serve and protect. And when you get to serve somebody and them appreciate what you've done to help them in their journey in life, whatever it may be, it may have been they was at a crossroads and I helped them turn to the left instead of going to the right. You know, and if they'd have went to the right, it would have got worse. But they went to the left. They may have only went to the left for a little while and made a U-turn, but they went to the left. And it makes you feel good that you helped them guide in a different direction
Yeah.
than what the way they were going.
Right. So new topic. Oh man, I just
Can
lost
I
my
read
spot.
these? I will.
I guess you
I
can,
got it
yeah.
pulled up.
Yeah.
Okay, so the topic is going from patrol to investigation. So kind of going back to what we were talking about earlier. First question: what made you want to transfer? Was it your choice to transfer?
It was we had a opening in investigations. One of my good friends that I worked with on patrol had already transferred to investigations maybe a year before that.
Who it is?
It was Mark Hicks.
Who it is?
Yeah.
So, you know, I was working patrol. We would work 6 days straight, be off 2, which was a rotating schedule.
Yeah.
I had to work 6 weeks to get a weekend off.
Gosh.
And then I worked 2 weekends, and then I was working 6 weeks again before I got another weekend off. So that rotation alone, and mind you, I was working second shift too, you know.
Who?
So from 4 in the afternoon to 12 midnight, which is only 8-hour shift, we pull 12-hour shifts now. But
Yeah, but 6 to 6 is still better than 4 to 12.
well, I was working. You think about 6 days before you get a day off.
That's garbage. I'd rather work the 12 hours.
I work 15 days a month now.
Right.
I work half a year for the same amount of pay because of the 12-hour shifts.
Yeah.
So that had a little bit to play into because if I went to investigations, I'd be Monday through Friday. Off
Can I prop up right here?
Sure, why not?
My legs are
Nothing
killing
has
me.
changed.
Dogs
I don't
are barking.
know how propping up on my legs would help your legs feel any better when you're not standing on them anyway.
No, like they're just
Dangling hurts.
no,
dangle
no,
of
they're
it.
not dangling. My feet are touching. I'm saying like being squished up like this. I can't. I gotta
Just
extend.
get comfortable. I mean,
I will.
You know, why not?
Can't see her on the video, but it's fine.
So I went from working 6 straight days off 2 to working 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, and then working from 8 o'clock in the morning till 4 o'clock in the afternoon. A normal life,
Yeah.
you know. So
And you had a kid about to start school.
yeah,
Dang. You started investigations that early?
I started investigations in 04.
So
Dude.
when did the eyeglass case take place? How long after?
That
Was it in
April
04?
of 04?
So you started in January of 04?
Soon?
Yeah, thereabouts.
Oh, gosh. So you were a baby
was actually-
investigator.
It was actually, I want to say maybe late January, early February of 04 when I went to investigations.
We'll get back to the eyeglass case,
Yeah.
but you solved a major case being in there for 4 months.
Well, I didn't do it by myself.
Well, I know, but I'm saying
But
you found
I was the lead investigator because I was assigned to that case.
well, and you found the missing the
I did
thing.
find the glasses.
Yeah,
Yes.
so we'll get
And
to
we'll-
that
You know what?
later.
I say we finish out here, and then we get him to tell the eyeglass case on the next one, since we hadn't got
There
that
ain't
far.
gonna be a lot to go in the next one.
Yes, there will be. There's a whole episode full.
Okay.
Okay, so go ahead.
So what are we talking about? I'm confused.
Investigations, just
Oh, how I got.
What made you want to
what made
transfer?
Well, you know, there are perks to being an investigator, if you want to call it that. From our standpoint, you don't have to drive a marked car. I don't have to wear a polyester uniform day in and day out. You know, I work in the office. It's a lot safer in the office because the bad guys ain't coming to the center to the office to cause trouble.
And field
Right.
trips.
You know,
Field trips.
field trips.
Oh, you got to go out when there's a case that needs to be worked. You get to go out different places.
Oh well, I didn't call them field trips.
I was
You know?
confused.
Now I got to do a lot of things that I probably wouldn't have never got to do. Number one thing that I really enjoyed or being able to do because I was an investigator, I got to fly in a helicopter.
Hey,
And somebody
I was the
somebody in
only
this
one
room
that
was
didn't
also
get
there
to.
with me one time.
that was so
know.
fun. I was sick that day.
She was sick, but you know, she took a helicopter
I
ride.
took a helicopter ride and I'll never forget it.
But you know, I got to fly in a helicopter.
Can't say the same.
I ended up making or getting to know a guy that was a pilot, and we became pretty good friends, and we talked a lot, and you know that was a friendship that came from investigations that I never would have got.
True.
You know, I made a lot of friends from different counties and different agencies in different states because I got to know people because I was working cases with all these different agencies that would overlap into different states or counties or whatever.
I'm just telling you, like, I'm so comfortable with my knees. If you'll just rub them.
I'm not rubbing your knees, pal.
Well, my feet are there too. You
I'm
can.
not rubbing your
Here.
nasty feet.
I'll
either.
put them. I wash them.
I
Here.
don't care how much you washed them. I'm not rubbing your nasty feet. You
Her-
walk on the floor.
Her
I
dogs
don't
are
walk
barking.
on the floor. I walk in my
You
house
don't think
shoes.
the
Hey, that
insides
needs to be
of that-
super
look
glued.
Look at the inside
Hey,
of them
hold
shoes,
on, hold on.
black, and you want to tell me that they're clean?
That needs to be super glued again. It's coming off.
Listen. Is this what the inmates wear to jail?
It's pretty close. They call them slides.
There's my slides. Oh man, it does need some more super
You
glue.
get you some orange ones, and they look just like that.
Do you hear me?
What?
I need your super glue. You need to super glue them up again.
Can
It
you
ripped.
bring your own shoes when you go to jail? Like if you have a pair of orange Crocs, can you just casually bring them and be like, well,
Yeah, you can walk into jail with them. You just ain't gonna get to wear them while you're in there. They're gonna dress you out and put you in what they wear.
They're gonna dress you out.
They gonna put
They're gonna give you a makeover.
They're gonna put all that in your property bag, and you can get it when you get out.
There you go.
no Crocs for them.
All right, so let's continue.
Yeah.
Continue.
Continue.
I haven't laughed at you this whole time.
Get her. Get her.
Yeah, and
I was
I know
going
you
to.
wanted to because
I-
I've stuttered a
I've
lot.
wanted to, and you look at me every time you stutter, and that doesn't help me not want to laugh. You go, and you'll side at me,
It's like a car stopping in there.
and then you go like that. Okay.
Okay, so how long were you in investigations?
Almost 12 years.
Okay. When did you get promoted to chief investigator? And did you like that job?
I can't remember exactly what year it was. It was
Okay, I
probably
can tell you.
around 2010.
She researched
maybe?
it.
You looked it up.
I was in middle school. I think it was like 2011.
It was 2010 or 11 because Mark died in 09, I believe it was. And then I took chief investigator after he passed.
Well,
It was
maybe it
several
was.
months.
Oh, so he was
2010.
chief investigator.
Yeah,
Oh, you took his position after
I
he
thought
passed.
Chaz was.
Chaz was over the narcotics division.
That's right. That's right.
He was the commander. Of
Do
the
you want to
narcotics
say that
division.
to his face?
You notice
Does
how?
he watch this? You're the commander, Chaz.
But do you notice how he never does air quotes like that? He goes,
Me?
"Bunny, you don't ever go." You go.
I'm sorry. I didn't know there was a way to do it. Specific way to do air quotes.
What if you do
Let
air
me spread my fingers apart.
Well, when you top them out, they're not together. They're like this.
Don't you just love her,
I mean, you get so technical. Where do you get that from?
Mama?
No, that comes from me.
You're welcome.
Specifics.
There's
You know
Spawn
what I mean?
sitting here.
There's two of them here. Let me blink a little bit when I do that.
Okay.
I was in investigations for probably, it was close to 12 years.
Sounded like Trump when you said probably. You sounded.
Sorry.
thought it
Okay,
was
so
funny.
you said you got promoted to chief investigator in like 2010.
Somewhere
around
12, 11, somewhere around there, yeah.
You got it.
What made you want to leave investigations and go back to patrol? I'm glad you turned your light on, by the way.
I didn't mean to.
Oh, good.
So after I made chief investigator, the sheriff had done away with the drug
Narcotics.
There you go.
narcotics unit.
Chaz, that's you,
They
brother.
moved everybody to general investigations, which made everybody mine to supervise. So I had about 6 or 7 people to make sure that all the cases that came in were divided up. They were working on their cases. I had my own cases to work. I had 2 evidence vaults to make sure that it was in proper order. There was a lot of stuff that I was having to do. On top of doing all of my cases, I had to make sure that all their cases were going like they should go. If they needed something, I was the one that, usually had to. It was my responsibility to make sure that they had what they needed or, whatever to get their cases going. So there was a lot of pressure. If, for example, we went on vacation as a family, my phone rang all day, every day when I was at work, and it rang all day, every day when I was on vacation. So I never was away from the job, really.
And we'd sit down for dinner, and they'd call and be like,
y'all
we've had a
know-
murder.
Y'all know well, I've missed birthdays. I've missed
Ball games.
Christmases. I've missed Thanksgivings. Every
Missed
holiday.
a good night's sleep. I
Sports.
know a lot of times, like, you would not be there when I woke up, and it made me sad.
Yeah. I didn't get to see ball games. there was.
Didn't get to make our sandwiches sometimes in the morning.
Dude, that sucked. Had to make my own sandwich.
That's terrible, isn't it? I
know.
was making you a sandwich when you was a senior.
Hey, I know somebody that their mom still makes their sandwich, and they work with me.
Oh wow.
24 years old.
Oh wow.
So
But
I count my
you know,
blessings.
there was a lot of I guess you might say pros and cons to the job itself. And then when I got chief investigator, there was a lot of pros and cons to it,
A lot more responsibilities
There were,
and
of course,
stress.
anytime you get more money, you get more responsibility. So does it ever really balance out? It's what you're thinking. But I got to miss a lot of stuff that y'all were doing when y'all were growing up that I can't never get back because of my job, And I didn't want to put my job before y'all, but that was my job.
Yeah.
I knew that going in, that it was a 24/7. It didn't matter what was happening. Whatever I was doing, I had to drop and leave, no matter what it was. And I know that y'all probably didn't understand that sometimes, but that was just the way it had to be. And anybody that wants to try to do this job, that wants to criticize, until you're in that situation that I'm talking about, you're not going to know. It hurts y'all that I'm not there, but you can't imagine how it hurt me that I wasn't there.
Do you think we got upset with you for not being there? Like, do you think it?
I don't
We
think
were
I
mad
ever
at
got
you.
I don't
upset.
think you
I
ever,
was either.
I don't remember you ever being mad that I wasn't there. I think that growing up with me doing this job, whether it was just a patrol job or investigations,
It was normal to
it
us.
was normal behavior to y'all, you know? And I'm sure that your mother tried to explain why I wasn't there at your birthday parties. Or, I remember one time we were having a birthday party. We always had your birthday party right around the Alabama and Auburn game, and you were opening gifts, and I got a phone call about a suicide, and I had to get up and leave in the middle of you opening your gifts. There was always something going on that I had to leave for,
Yeah.
And it really took a toll on your mother because she knew. I mean, I don't know that
It's like something's got to give
I
here.
don't know that she felt this way, but I could almost see that when I was at home, she would just look at the phone waiting on it to ring.
Yeah.
Because there was always something going on. And I felt the same way sometimes. I mean, I feel guilty now when the phone rings. I'm taken away from my family to deal with something or somebody. But
That's your job.
I'm in supervision.
Yeah.
Somebody's going to call, all the time. It's not near as bad now as it was then. So, there were some perks to going to investigations, but there was a lot of stuff that.
So would you say there's more cons than pros then?
Over time.
Over time,
Over time,
yeah.
okay, yeah.
I don't regret my time in investigations. I learned a lot. I dealt with a lot of different type cases.
Do you think you made an impact?
I think so, to a certain extent. I mean, you can't fix everything.
Right.
A guy told me one time you can't make all the people happy all the time. You can just make some of the people happy some of the times.
Yeah.
And if you go to investigations thinking you're going to solve every theft case that's ever put on your desk, you're dead wrong because it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
You're not going.
setting
You're only going to solve a certain percentage of the cases that you're handed. Even though you want to solve everything that comes across your desk, it's just not feasible. You can't do it. So.
Did you know your percentage?
Okay. So when did you receive your lieutenant status? Would you call it a status?
It's a rank.
A rank, okay.
So the chief investigator on our pay scale, the chief investigator is actually a lieutenant rank. Even though they're called chief investigator, they're at that pay scale is at a lieutenant's pay grade. So when I became chief investigator, I was considered on the rank scale as a lieutenant. Of course,
I didn't know that because I was really
didn't
talking
either.
about patrol.
Well, when I came from investigations back to patrol, I took my rank with me.
So, like, when you look at the family tree of the sheriff's office, you got the sheriff, the chief deputy, and then you got your investigations and the lieutenant deputy.
We got
Then you go down
patrol
from
and
there.
investigations.
Well, you have the sheriff and then the chief, chief deputy, and then right under that it kind of splits off to where you have, like you said, a patrol and investigation.
Yeah, that's what I said.
And then under the patrol we have 2 lieutenants, and then in investigations you basically have 1 lieutenant, which is the chief investigator,
Who's the other lieutenant?
Nick Vaughn.
He's on the B shift.
I didn't
He's
know
on.
that.
He's got B shift. We got A shift
I
because
thought
we
that
the
was
A team.
I thought there was just one. Okay, I hear you. Confidence, baby. Gotta have it.
So under that, under the lieutenants, you have your sergeants, and then you have corporals, and then we have just patrol deputies.
What do you call those? Privates?
Patrol deputies.
Well, no, but military terms, they call them private.
No,
or
we don't
whatever.
have privates.
What's the other one? What's the other term? Maggots.
That's when they're in boot camp. They call them maggots.
Yeah.
I never was in boot camp, so I didn't know that.
Well, but you didn't know that from just general. I mean, how do I know that? And you
Never
don't?
heard anybody called maggot.
You
It's
don't?
Cadet Kelly.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay,
I don't know
so
who that is either.
It was a Disney movie, Cadet Kelly.
yeah, Lizzie
You know-
McGuire was
I
in
probably
it.
didn't
It was
watch that.
female, like summer boot camp.
Yeah, I was probably walking
Military.
through the living room, didn't pay any
Yeah,
attention.
if you saw it, you probably the
You know
dad-
that guy that fell off the rock?
Oh my God, I was about to say that.
I don't know.
Okay, well, don't worry about it.
Okay,
On we go.
so we've got standout calls, cases, and favorite moments. So
I thought we were going to do that in the next episode.
No, we're gonna do the eyeglass case in next.
That's just going to be the whole episode?
Oh,
Okay.
it'll fill up an episode.
I can't give every detail. In
You
there.
can't give every detail, but you can do it for us. You did it for True Crime
Well,
on
I mean,
Easy
yeah,
Street.
but I just have to add.
It's okay. We'll go
It's
for
fine.
it.
Okay, so what's one of the scariest calls that you've ever been on that you can just think of now?
So I've been shot at.
Really?
Absolutely, been shot at.
I didn't know
How
that.
you not tell somebody that? Here, get up. I gotta put my
Does Mama know
feet are
that?
getting cold.
Yeah, she knows.
Thanks for
Yes,
telling
she
somebody.
knows.
It's no big deal. I've done it 100
I mean, it was in the midst of a car chase. I didn't realize it at first that I was being shot at. I was late to the chase, as you might say. I wasn't there when it first started.
Was this the one that went into Georgia?
No,
Oh, okay.
no. I was late to the chase, and what I say, or what I mean by that is, I was at home with y'all. I worked second shift at that time. No, I worked third shift at that time, and so I heard the car chase going on. It started in center, and then they ended up 411 and crossed Frog Mountain, and then I had called Granny, and she came down and took over babysitting so I could go help because they had running this guy all over the eastern part of the county, and he had started shooting at our officers, and that's when I decided it's time to go help.
So he's driving and go out the
Well,
window.
he's got a buddy in the truck,
Oh, okay.
and
What
so
were they running for? Like, what did
they
what
had
did
a
they
stolen
do?
piece of equipment on a trailer that they were pulling behind them. It was a stolen Bobcat.
And couldn't be caught
Shooting over
with
a
a
Bobcat.
bobcat on a trailer.
I mean, you don't pit maneuver a Bobcat, Somebody's gonna get hurt.
That's true. That's true.
Hope it's strapped
So you
down
just
good.
follow. Basically, a car chase. You just follow them till they either run out of gas or
wreck.
wreck
Give
or
up.
their tires go flat because you spike stripped them.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't just hey, I'm got blue lights. You need to pull over. They don't. They don't
They
go
don't
by
care.
that rule.
Yeah. Okay. Continue.
But anyway, so I got late to the chase. I was coming down the road as they were coming up the road, and there was several behind this guy. And when I come over the hill, he saw me and turned left onto a county road, and the others were a little ways behind me. So that put me closer to him than everybody else.
You're the front man now.
And at that time, this road was dirt road. It's not now. It's tar and gravel road now. But
Tar and gravel road.
I'm sure y'all don't know what that is. But
Yeah, I know what it is, but I just
anyway, there's confusion from over here. So.
she's vibrating again, y'all. For those of you that can't hear it, she's not gonna be able to compose herself for a few minutes. I'm gonna have to zoom in over and over and over until we get right up on her face. She's just making it worse.
Oh, so anyway, the road was dirt. I'm gonna go on with the story and let her finish her shakes. But so I was basically the lead chase car at that point, and I kept hearing this low muffled type popping sound,
Uh-oh.
and I'm like, what is that?
You have a silencer on that thing?
No.
Okay.
I'm thinking to myself, what is that popping sound? And then I realized, oh my God, he's been shooting at everybody else. He's shooting at me too. So I key up on the radio, grab my mic, and
Buddy, gotta
key
go.
up and tell him the subject's still shooting. And of course, everybody's like, back off of him. I was like right up on him,
Right up on the
Getting
trailer.
that boy.
They're like, back off, Bo, back off. So I, back off. And of course, I'm still following him. And he turns left down into these trees. It was like I don't know, I wouldn't say it's a field road. It was just a road. He took a left, and it was rough, so I couldn't get my car down in there.
But he
the
got
others was
his
like-
vehicle with the Bobcat on the trailer
The
down in there.
the Bobcat in the trailer, he'd done lost that.
Oh,
That,
ended
that,
up in the ditch somewhere.
that came off probably on Frog Mountain, the best I can remember. Crossing Frog Mountain.
How'd it just come off?
I don't know. The trailer hitch or something broke, and it just came off.
Okay, continue.
So it was just the truck that I'm chasing.
Okay.
You know, I'm sorry.
Well, I was trying to figure out how they were shooting at you with a
what I'm
bobcat
saying.
behind them. I was
Yeah.
like, how were they?
So apparently I never saw him, but I wasn't looking at what they were doing. I was trying to keep up with the vehicle and make sure he didn't slam on his brakes and me run into him on a gravel dirt road, because you don't stop real good when you're going some pretty good speeds in dirt, So anyway, he turns left, goes off into the woods. I couldn't go that way because I knew my car wouldn't go up in there where it was at, and because it was kind of thick, and so I just kind of come to a stop sideways in the road, and I radioed the ones that were coming in behind me, that where my patrol car was at, they need to take a left if they got a 4-wheel drive. And there were several that shot up through there. You know, they ended up finding the vehicle. The guys had jumped out. They had jammed the truck up against a tree or something. I don't know how. I never went up there, so I don't know what it looked like. But anyway, they stopped their vehicle for whatever reason, disabled it or whatever, and got out and ran. So
Did you ever find them? Y'all ever find 'em?
one of them we found later that night. We called dog team in, you know, and
Oh yeah, chase a dog after him.
so of course it takes some time to get a dog team to come in from because we don't at that time we didn't have any dogs tracking dogs.
Don't have to worry about that now.
So yeah, we
Talkie
got
be right on it.
Talkie's a tracking dog.
Shout out to you, Talkie, if you're out there listening.
And Daniel for being the handler. So, but yeah, that was a pretty memorable moment.
So
to
did you have
know
like
that you got shot at and in the
Survived.
midst of a car chase?
Have you ever shot somebody?
no? Was there like bullet holes in your?
Nothing ever hit my vehicle.
Oh, okay, they
I
weren't
just
even
kept
close.
hearing the popping,
Got it.
and it dawned on me what the popping was. I mean, this truck was like
Back and
all
forth.
over the road, so
There was
you know,
no-
it's
they
not
were not
like he
gonna
could
hit.
just take straight aim and just start firing.
It's like when
rounds
you're
off.
trying to shoot.
And I don't know that thinking
Before
back,
that.
if I aim at you with a rifle, I think I could hit you. You know, even in the midst of a car chase, I'm going to kind of compensate for the going back and forth or whatever.
Maybe he's kind of like Fortnite. You know,
Well,
I was
it may
in
have
the
been-
car and trying to shoot.
It may have been
very hard.
It is kind of hard, but at the same time, I don't know that the guy was actually trying to kill somebody.
He was just trying to scare you.
maybe that's
back
what he was
you
doing.
off.
Maybe that's the reason there wasn't any bullet holes in my vehicle.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. So, can you give us a couple of like your favorite moments with your coworkers? Because I know it couldn't have been like all business.
Serious.
No, it's
Yeah.
not. And if it is, then you would just go insane. You gotta have something to break the monotony, I guess you might say. So there's a video that I made. So we got a guy that used to work with us. He's passed now. His name's Keith Morgan. Great friend. Me and him was the same age. There was like just weeks difference in us as far as age goes. But he was a good friend of mine.
Funny dude.
Funny guy.
And he was so caring. Like
but-
he treated us
He
like
was
his
so
kids.
sweet.
But now Keith was he's a different guy, He was strange in his own way. Loved him to
Like
death.
Callie.
He's strange in his own way. Or I shouldn't say strange. He was peculiar. There were certain
He had
things
things about him that were
he had his little, I don't know, what do you call
Quirks.
it? Quirks.
There you
yeah.
go.
Things
you would
things,
know. I would know.
certain things would just agitate him, and just for instance, he worked in the office for a while, in the front office, and he had come off patrol and started working in the front office, and there's always boxes in the hallway. God,
Mark always ordering stuff.
there's always something being delivered, and there's really nowhere to put that stuff. So we just kind of shove it to the side down the hallway. There's still plenty of clear walking because it's a wide walkway or hallway. But so apparently he was irritated about these empty boxes that had been left.
piled up.
They weren't necessarily just piled up.
They were
like-
propped up against the
they
wall.
were just they were along the hallway where all the other boxes. Well, he had gotten irritated for whatever reason, and this is what I'm talking about, his little quirks or whatever. He'd gotten irritated about this box. I don't know why, And so one of the guys that worked in the jail had come to me and said, "Bo, you got to watch this video." Said we were sitting back there a little while ago, and of course, there's cameras all in that office, all through the jail. There's really not a corner anywhere that doesn't have a camera showing something on every hallway or whatever. So they said, "Man, you got to watch this video. This is hilarious what Keith just did." And so they were actually watching the cameras in the jail, and they see Keith start kicking this box down the hallway. And I'm not talking about just kicking it like this. I mean, he's rearing back.
He was raging
when
on it.
When he kicked it, it went flying. It wasn't just scooting. It went flying down the hallway.
Like he was playing kickball.
Yeah, pretty much.
He was trying to
just
send it
kicking
to the
you know?
moon.
And I don't know what made him go off. I guess
Well,
you
he
might
stepped
say.
out. He stepped out of the door, saw it, went back in. A few seconds later, that's when he come flying around the corner.
Yeah, I've
kicking it.
showed y'all the video. It's hilarious. So anyway, they're saying, man, you got to watch this video because I don't know what it is. I guess I really don't know what it is, but if there's something going on, they always like, hey, Bo, look at this, man. This you got to know what
They want you to laugh.
They want me to know what's going on.
Because you're the most
in the office.
stoic dude in the place. They want to get you. They want to get a little giggle out of there. I do that too.
They're like, Bo, you got to watch this. You know, I'm like, what is it? You know, what is it? Well, they showed me the video, and like I said, Keith comes out of that front office, and he starts down the hall, and he kicks that box. I mean, he launches that box over 3/4 of the way down the hall, you know. And so I said, you know, I can use that. It was just
Those creative mind is just going.
my mind
ham.
is always
Bro,
creating.
that's where I got it
something, you know.
from. He made a music.
I've always got. If you give me something, I can use it for some reason. I may put it back for a couple of years, you know, but I ain't gonna forget that I got it, and I'll use it somewhere somehow. So I said, "Hey," I said, "just send that to my phone." I said, I'm gonna use that. Of course, Keith's still in. I said, "Now don't tell Keith that I've got this video. Y'all better not tell him nothing about it. Don't even let him know that you've got the video." And they're like, "Okay."
Act like
said,
you didn't see him rage.
If you get anything else,
Let
you
me
bring
know.
it to me. And they said, "What are you gonna do?" I said, "Just get it to me. I already got.
I'll
my
show you when I
mind's
get it
working
done.
overtime." So you know, with iPhone, you know, there's this little iMovie app that's on your iPhone. So I got some music on my phone. So I just plugged in a little song, plugged in those two little short clippings of videos. One of them is where he had walked back. He was trying to tell somebody across from my office about some piece of paper that he had in his hand, and they weren't having it. They wasn't listening to him. They wasn't paying no attention to him. It bothered him so bad that he just stood there in the doorway of their office or thereabouts and just wadded it up. And there's this big 55-gallon drum. I call it a 55-gallon drum. I don't know how big the garbage can
A
is.
large
But
trash
it's like
can.
the one that you would see in the lunchroom,
Yeah.
you know, at school. It was one of those. It's sitting on the corner. He just wads it up and acts like he plays basketball a minute and then throws it, dunks it in there, you know. And then I didn't know what he was doing. I wasn't paying no attention. I just was coming down the hall and I seen him, you know, like fake dribbling that piece of paper and then launches it in the garbage can like he made a slam dunk and then holds his hand up like a high five, and I just high five him and keep right on walking, you know. I mean, it was almost like it was planned, but we didn't plan that.
Yeah.
You know, so things like that around the office is fun. You know, it breaks the monotony. And of course, I made a music video out of it. And then I started showing people. And I'm
Black
like,
Betty.
Black Betty.
I hope we don't
music
get
that I put with
copyrighted for that one.
I hope I don't either. Or you don't. But anyway.
We're going to clip it anyway. They'll just take it out. They'll mute it if it ain't right.
Oh, really?
YouTube will do it.
Oh, well, anyway. So I made the video. And then I started showing everybody in the office. I'm like,
It's too good not to show.
I said, y'all got to watch this. I said, don't tell Keith because he'll strangle me. You know, Keith's a big guy.
Did he ever see it?
Yeah, he saw it.
Okay, good.
I finally got brave enough to show it to him one time, and he just went, you know.
He didn't.
That's about
like
all I
think
got
it's
out
hilarious.
of him. He thought it was funny, but that was his funny was, you know.
Yeah.
That's all you get.
Were you trying to use that for like a retirement video or something?
Well, you know, I have used certain things for retirement videos for people before, you
Yeah.
know. When Jimmy D. Bear
Yeah.
retired, y'all remember me
What
making
was
that
it?
video?
I don't
Pontoon.
Pontoon, the
Yeah,
song
dancing to
Pontoon.
it in the
Yeah.
corner.
He comes in my office one day, you know, and I was still in investigations, and he starts dancing, and he did this for several mornings, and then I'm thinking
Was he playing the song Pontoon?
Or were you playing it? And
he would come in singing it. That was like his favorite song, you know, and he worked day shift, and I did too, and there were several others. Everybody kind of just ganged up in my office in the mornings, you know. That was the place to go to.
Come in there, eat your biscuit, drink your coffee.
That's what I was doing, was drinking my drink, my Coke or whatever and
Drinking
eating
your
my
biscuit and eating your coffee.
yeah, something to that. I didn't drink coffee, so.
I know.
But
don't like
anyway,
that
that's
stereotype.
And of course, he did that. Several mornings, come in singing that song, and I thought I'm gonna set him up. So I got my little body cam.
Hidden camera.
At that time, we had a little bitty body cam that would fit almost like in a
I used that when I was
Pen.
working for the ABC board.
ink pen hole on your shirt, and I had it set up on my desk, and I had it turned on because I heard him coming down the hall, and he was singing that song.
You're like, I got
I
you
already
today,
had
Bubba.
this plan.
He would just come in your office just to dance and sing that song to you.
Well, he would come down the hall. Jimmy was just always just pretty much cheerful about anything.
High energy.
And so he would come down the hall just singing. And like I said, apparently that was his favorite song at the time because he would sing it every morning. One, two, and then he would just go through the motion of singing it. And I thought, well, I'm just going to play it. So I looked it up on the computer and had it playing.
Oh, you
When he
set
came
him up.
in.
Set him
So I
up.
set him up. And when he came in, he heard it. And
Couldn't
man,
help himself.
there was an office full of people, and everybody in there except him knew that it was being recorded. And he starts singing along, and as he starts singing, he starts dancing in the doorway of my office. And he always stood in the same place, so I knew where to set the camera. Because he never
Very
came in and
predictable
sat
guy.
down. He always just stood in the doorway or right there about it. And so I took that, made a music video. It was really distorted on that video or body cam footage. So I actually took the video and plugged it in to the actual song. And for his retirement party, I had gotten with his wife, and she'd got me a bunch of old pictures.
It's fine. It went off, but it's fine. Just keep talking.
I'd gotten with his wife and gotten all of, he'd had a scrapbook, I guess you might say, full of boxes of pictures, and she'd brought me a bunch of them, and I'd scanned them in and
Made him a little slideshow.
made a slideshow for his retirement. He didn't have a clue. Most everybody at the retirement party, and there was a bunch of folks there because Jimmy was around for a long time, but I'd made that slideshow, and we showed that, and that was the last thing that played was him playing
I remember.
dancing at the pontoon.
I remember the party, dude.
I do too. That was good.
So I mean, things like that just it makes it worth the while when you can have a little fun with your friends,
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, y'all.
That's it for today.
For today,
We'll be back with you next week, and Bo's gonna be here with us too.
third time's a charm.
We're gonna
Second
finish
and
this
the
up.
first time was a charm too, but you like being on our podcast?
I mean, it's
Yeah, it's
all
all
right.
right. Yeah, I knew you'd say that.
That's my answer for everything. It's all right.
Yeah, but he doesn't
If
say.
I say
face
it's all
everything.
right, it's okay. And
If I say it's all right, it's okay. I mean,
I mean, I don't
could be
get
doing something better, but
I don't get just
As she's blinking like he blinks.
beside myself.
What has been your favorite episode?
episode.
Episode.
What's been your favorite episode?
What? Let me
Say
ask
it for me, Callie.
What has been your favorite episode?
That we've put out so far. Do you have one that stands
And
out?
I don't know that there's one that really stands out to me. I mean,
He listens every week.
And I
He
listen every
subscribed
week.
to the Patreon, but
I don't
he doesn't
watch it.
know his favorite.
I don't watch it.
He don't know how to get on there and watch it.
Well, I'm not. I used to be tech savvy, but
The technology has left you in the past.
yeah, it's run off and left me.
Kelly-
When it first came out, I could keep up, but now
I've never been in it, so I wouldn't know how it felt.
What's that?
I'm not tech savvy in the
In the
slightest.
pool?
What?
Yeah.
You have to explain that one to me in a minute. I don't understand what you're saying, but we're gonna move on. Okay.
Everybody else got it.
Like
I'm
the
glad they did.
socials. Like the socials. Callie's got a Twitch. She's yet to start it.
Well,
But they're
I've
in the
been
sweat lobbies.
I've been meaning to do like when we post up for a podcast, we just go live the whole time on the thing, but I'll have to figure that out another day. Anyway, so yeah, just keep liking our social medias and keep following us on or subscribing to us on YouTube, liking it, commenting on it or whatever.
We're making music videos. We're recording music and we're doing commercials. Go
Hit us
check
up for
those
that.
out on our YouTube.
All right,
What
that's
else?
it. That's it.
I guess that's it
So we'll catch you next week with Bo over here.
for the
This
part
is-
3
This has been Beyond 21.
with Caitlin.
Callie.
And Bo again.
Bye, y'all.